Welcome to the Total Acre Podcast. I'm your host, C.R. Siebold. This podcast is all about helping growers unlock their potential. We aim to bring listeners agronomic insights, valuable educational interviews, real-world strategies that optimize yield and maximize ROI. This show is going to explore innovative practices, creative strategies, and breakthrough products with people that are shaping the industry, all through engaging and inspiring stories. Who better to learn from than the legendary world champion David Hula, Randy Dowdy, and Alex Harrell? Because in farming and in life, iron always sharpens iron. And the best way to grow or get better is to continually be learning, networking with peers, have access to industry leaders, and the tools, tips, and tricks, and overall quality of information. Knowledge is power. Tune in, hit play. Let's unlock your farm's potential together.
Hey y'all, Chad Siebold here with Total Acre. Kind of excited to be able to be out here. Thanks for the invite, you guys. Tyler Jones with Redox Bio-Nutrients, Aimee Burke, out here at their Expert Farm. They were invited me out to kind of see and touch and learn more about what y'all are doing. Appreciate the invite.
Glad to be here. Glad to be going into our second year working with Total Acre guys. It's pretty cool.
That's what it's about. I think one of the things that makes, this group unique is, I call it access to information. You guys are unique in terms of, collaboration, access. I think when you talk about what a producer needs is knowledge, right? They're thirsty for knowledge, but that's why Brian Maddox is working with companies like Redox to be able to take product in. I think it's we'll come full circle on some of the stuff that we're working with you on, but working inside of YMS, which is the software within Total Acre, the cool thing is we are able to highlight a lot of the results in season and really know what works best where, and again, trying to figure out that information going back to a producer means a lot. So one of the cool things about your Expert Farm, you guys will have to remind me, what is the XPRT? What's the acronym? What does it stand for?
Professional Research Technology.
Professional Research and Technology. That's cool. Yeah. And I know you guys are going to highlight that this year. We were over here looking at some of the facilities. I know you've got a few different events, but before we get to that, we actually went out and did a few different root digs. I think corn, Tyler, corn
We're sitting, B2, B3 right now on the corn.
So application timing, a lot of that stuff was done in furrow?
In furrow. We did a lot of our stuff in furrow so far on the Expert Farm. In the next week or so, weather depending, we'll be putting on some foliar applications as well.
So for the folks that are not a part of Total Acre and maybe haven't heard of Redox yet, Redox Bio-Nutrients, maybe talk a little bit, Aimee, about kind of what is Redox, where y'all from, and what's unique about y'all?
I think first and foremost, we're a family-owned business. So Dad, two sons still run the day-to-day operations. We're based out of Burley, Idaho. We have small plots there. We have 2 full-time PhDs there. We've been in specialty crop and row crop for over 30 years, and we've got agronomists all over the U.S., and we've got products all over the world, really. So 30-plus products, full organic line. But I think one of the things why I like working at Redox is it's really agronomy and information focused first. Like, we want to bring our agronomic expertise to the forefront, and that's why it's so cool partnering with Total Acre, leveraging your YMS system to be able to collect all that data, because at the end of the day, you've got to be transparent about what works and what doesn't work. Every product doesn't work all the time, right? We've got a lot of cool stuff going on out there, and we're going to have all this data collection from the very beginning, putting seed in the ground all the way through harvest. And that's part of the investment in not only supplying the product, but also in the team here at Redox. Like, that's what we're all about, is we want to make sure that we learn together with the farmer, right, to figure out what's the best ROI, how can you stretch out those dollars.
Well, transparency too, right? Like, a lot of that information sometimes we see gets held internally and then never gets released to the general public. I think that's part of access to information. Jones, I think you're kind of an open book. Obviously, there's some things here that probably are not going to be fun to talk about, but listen, I think that's how we learn, right? Sometimes, I know you've got a lot. We looked at quite a few different things. I mean, if you look at the replications of different manure rates and you look at the different products, I'm not going to go into all of them, but I know that Darren Moon, the CEO of the company and owner, when we were on the podcast during Commodity Classic, we started talking about products. We talked about RDXN, a couple of other things. I know that's out here. We'll talk a little bit more about this jug, but transparency. There's going to be some stuff that we probably don't win on out here, and I think when you look at the opportunity to talk about what wins, what is winning, sometimes it's good to look at what maybe isn't winning too, and why.
That's right. Yeah, and I remember after the first year of doing trials with y'all at Total Acre last season, we had a good winning percentage. We maintained roughly a 4 bushel average across those replication last year. And one of the first things Colton said going into this year was, let's do it again. Let's find out why. we don't want to just do it once and be done, right? It's, if something didn't work, let's do it again and find out why. Let's research into things, and maybe we missed something with our technology or application or rate or timing, but we can learn together.
Well, working with Brian Maddox, he's always, I think you're over 75% win rate, and 4.5 bushel on, I can't remember, was it RDXN?
It was Mainstay SI and Banks. It's two products.
Two different products. Well, I'm sure that Maddox, as he had seen 75%, he wants to know why isn't it 80, right? And I think that Colton and your whole team kind of operates in that same category.
Correct.
Why? And then if it's 80, why isn't it 85? How do we get better? And I think that building on what we did, how do we get better? I think that's that mindset and mentality. One of the things that really stuck with me and continues to stick with me, when I had met Darren for the first time, he talked about how important it was to have the right people on the ship. Obviously, you two are not the right people. We know that. But all joking aside, the way you guys have kind of tackled a lot of the Total Acre relationships and really handheld those relationships in terms of the trial collaborators and the customer base. Aimee, I know you do a lot of work direct with growers. Maybe talk about what that takes and what that looks like.
Yeah, no, I got a bunch of Total Acre guys I'm working with right now, so it's really cool, again, being on the direct-to-grower side. I've got guys out of the Indiana camp, the Great Lakes camp, the Ohio camp, and we've got some custom programs put together. We've got our Pathway program that we have some guys using, which includes RDXN, our calcium product, our Banks product. So it's really cool because we already kind of know, because we're familiar with the YMS system, what they're going to be looking at in regards to data collection, and then we can stack our tools, like our Cypher report, which isn't a grid sample, it's a composite, but it actually will provide another new layer of data that they can look at, which is basically looking at the amount of soluble nutrient ions that are available in that first 6 inches of micropore space. So how do we take that information, as well as your grid sampling that you've done, your tissue test, everything that YMS offers, to have this kind of 10,000 foot view. I was talking to some Michigan guys last week, and he said, the easy bushels are gone. And you got some guys on these high management fields that it's kind of like a game of inches. Like, how can we tweak that a little bit to get to that upper level, to break that ceiling, right, and get to that 300 plus bushels. So it's been really cool working with them, and a lot of these guys I've known for a couple, more than a few years. So it's just a good group of guys.
Well, and the ones that are inside of Total Acre are the ones you're talking about, and I know you do outside of that as well. But inside the Total Acre work, that's kind of cheating, because these guys expect a little bit more because they are pushing the envelope. Not that other producers aren't, but I know these Total Acre group members that do push the envelope hard. So I'm sure you get a phone call or two. And Jones, we were in the field. I think you had a customer that was pushing something probably the wrong way, but was nonetheless pushing. So I think there's a lot of producers out there looking to be able to work with a company that can collaborate. So talk about that, Jones. Right? Like, how does one go about starting, right? You ever seen that meme where that toad kind of dipping your toe in the water? I know it's, a lot of guys are like, I already got a plan. I know you've got a product out here called Mainstay, and Mainstay's an in-season. Talk about if guys are interested in trying a Redox product, is there still time?
Yeah, there's definitely still time. I mean, over 30 different products, soil applied to foliar. So there's definitely still time. Here in the I-State, sitting at the V2, V3 stage, Mainstay SI and a lot of our foliar products can go on any time in that window, all the way up to the R1, R2, R3 stages. So there's still plenty of time to potentially add to your program or ask questions about your program and maybe how a technology from Redox could benefit what you currently have in place. I think that's one of the unique things about working with growers in the Total Acre program. It's easy to talk to them because a lot of them are looking for advancement in solutions. They want to find something different to think about, to make them think differently about what they could do differently. And so it's kind of made it easy to have conversations with them because this science isn't new. Plant charge balance has been around, but Redox has been doing it for over 30 years now. And so when we start talking about this to the Total Acre growers, they really seem very highly interested, and it just makes that conversation flow even better. It's something new for them to learn about and be interested in.
Tyler, you've got a unique role within the company as a strategic account leader. How do you look at approaching a company that's trying to, maybe they've done the same way, same standard operating procedures, but maybe looking to bring in a new product into their portfolio, or maybe, how do you start to approach that conversation with maybe somebody that's not a Total Acre member, but a company that's wanting to start to look at whether it's a consultant or another business?
Yeah, I guess it's what is in their portfolio. Are they biologicals? Are they foliars? Are they seed treatment products? Is it fungus? Is it bacteria? I guess in how any of our products could benefit their current technology, I guess you could say, and if there would be a potential for advancement on their lineup of products that they currently offer to growers. From there, I guess it'd just be, what does your workforce look like? What is the day-to-day, where are your reps? What is their roles and responsibilities? And how connected they are to their markets, right? How well do these companies know their markets and the end users and consumers? Because ultimately that's what this is all about, is providing solutions for the bottom lines for these growers. And we need to be connected with them and do the right thing.
Sure. Yeah, it makes total sense. And I think, I don't know if it was you, Aimee, or Tyler that referenced earlier, you mentioned plant charge balance.
Yeah.
And when you talk, whether it's a new company that's interested in adding a product to the portfolio, fundamentally, that's one of the foundations of the business. Is when you look at pounds per acre, when we talk about NPK, that's what we hear, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fundamentally, you talk more around charge per acre, which is the plant charge balance that I think you were mentioning earlier. But talk a little bit about that plant charge balance, and then charge per acre, not pounds per acre.
The way I like to explain it is I start with the nutrients first, because I think that's easier to wrap your head around. If you take nitrate nitrogen, for example, it's negatively charged, right? Soil's negatively charged, so it repels that nitrate nitrogen. Or you take phosphorus, it's a highly reactive, negatively charged nutrient ion, right? And so that it gets bound up with something positively charged like calcium, right? So you've got guys that are getting their soil samples and their parts per million of the phosphorus are through the roof, but it's not available. Well, why is that? It's because the reality of that charge, that negative charge, is getting bound up with that positive charge, right? So that reality happens in the soil. What's the same thing when the plant takes in nutrition, right? So if I'm applying nitrate nitrogen, it's carrying a negative charge. When the plant takes that nitrogen up, it's taking that charge up as well.
Sure.
And the one thing that the plant has to do at every millisecond of every day is balance itself 50% positive and 50% negative. Like, that is a reality that's happening, okay? And if you over-apply nitrate nitrogen, for example, the plant has to divert energy to get positive charge to balance it out. And what it loves to do is cannibalize that soluble potassium, because that's positively charged. And that very valuable soluble potassium they're trying to get into the plant early on. And if you've over-applied too much negatively charged nitrate nitrogen, that's what the plant's going to do. It's going to use that positively
Makes
charged
sense.
potassium. And so it's the reality of what we live with when we look at nutrients, but that's also the same reality that the plant deals with inside. And all of our technology is built around that concept to help the plant create balance. Because if you can assist the plant to do that, it's not going to have to divert energy from other systems and able to help that.
Yeah.
And what Darren will always say is we're in the energy business. We want to create an energy dominant plant right out of the gate.
Makes sense. And so go back to your plants are always striving to get back within that 50-50 balance. That's homeostasis, right? That's just it's a generic, but every plant everywhere. And I'm going to throw this out there, because when I start talking about products, I could be a little off. But when you look at having the ability to add or remove a charge from an environment, most of the products that you're working with or selling in the marketplace have and I'm going to butcher this a little bit, but it's a redox active substrate, which is a term that's used in chemistry. And that redox active substrate can add or remove neutrons, positive, negative, to help get back into that balance. Am I close?
Yep. It does the heavy lifting, because you're going to have no clue of what that plant needs at that exact moment of the day. So there's certain compounds, organic compounds, that we put in our formulations that are going to be able to address that. So again, you don't have to do the thinking. The product's going to be able to do it for you.
So Jones, we talked a little bit about some of the products, but how do you know where to start, right? So if I want to dip my toe in the water, how do I get started?
Sure. One tool we offer is our Redox Cipher tool. It is a soil sample that we offer looking at chemical extraction, malic 3, versus soluble paste extraction, which is what is readily available to the plant in soil solution, with base saturation percentages as well. It'll list priorities based off high, medium, low priorities of what you should be focused on for that specific field from those samples. Then we could take a look at what a potential product may fit into that operation per that sample.
So no more throwing darts, guessing at it. You can get pretty accurate on what, if I got limited budget, limited spend. Now here we are sitting, I'll time us, what are we, May 12th,
Right.
May 11th. So most guys are in the field. Most guys are planted, right? Let's just be honest. We're
Yeah.
V2,
We're coming
V3.
on the end of it. Yep.
Still can get out in the field and do some sampling. Are you doing some of that still?
We had some come in this week. Yeah, I mean, obviously we've missed the opportunity for recommendations to put something into planting, but we've got opportunities with foliar passes right now. And the other cool part too is that with this report, a lot of it's going to validate what you already know, but there is some head scratching. Like, geez, I didn't know that was an opportunity. So I'll just point to calcium. If your base saturations are in line, your pH is good, right? You're thinking calcium's not an issue. And so it's just like phosphorus could be there but tied up. It's the same thing with calcium. So if you don't have enough available soluble calcium during that young vegetative state, right?
Sure.
When you're doing heavy cell division and you're making those rows around, well, that could be an opportunity. So let's take some mainstay SI and put that in as a foliar and see if that's going to get us the top end of the bushels.
That's interesting too, because we've all heard of Liebig's law of the minimums, right? And now it kind of turns that on its head a little bit, right? It's like, hey, what we may or may not see could be deceiving, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting, and I suppose over the past 30 years, you've kind of perfected some of the SPE things you probably can't talk about what's in it, but pretty cool to be able to see. And I'm sure, I guess as I transition to kind of what I'm looking at over my shoulder here, or over your shoulder, Jones, is the XPRT Farm. I know we were just out here, and you've got irrigated pivots. You got at least 3 pivots out on this 500 acres. You got corn, soybeans, grass, but maybe just walkways for grass.
Just
so
walkways.
No hay like you wanted to have out here.
Unfortunately not.
But field days are coming up. I don't know if you guys want to talk about what's coming. Obviously you're going to be doing a lot between now and field days, but before we talk about what you're doing in between, what are the field days? What's that all about?
Yeah, so first field day is actually coming up fast. It's going to be on June 12th, and that is our Farmer Innovation Forum.
30 days away.
Yep, Farmer Innovation Forum. So we've got a small group of really qualified partners that we've been working with in the past that are going to come out and do education. Like we said, with Redox, it's all about agronomy first, education first, and that is the purpose of this. Is not only to introduce the XPRT Farm to the public, but also, hear from guys in the industry that are experts in their space. And so that's from 8 to 1. That's on a Thursday, and then our second field day is going to be July 22nd, which I believe is a Tuesday, and that's our technology days. It's technology pathway days. So this is where we're going to take the toys out and have cool demonstrations, right? The drones.
I've seen
the
some on
trackers,
that
all
list.
that.
There's going to be some cool,
Yeah, that's
and they're not just Redox folks. It's folks throughout the industry. That's the other reason, that technology on the end of XPRT, access to new technologies, and I've seen some short lists on there. I suppose you'll have to share that maybe on the
full agenda to come. And then our big kind of kickoff for the Redox XPRT Farm is going to be on Wednesday, August 20th. That is our actual field day. This is where Darren Moon, the founder, John Kelly, co-founder, going to come out, going to do presentations. Learn about plant charge balance from the guys that have been talking about it for 30 years, as well as do demo tours, get out in the field. So save the dates on those, and all the information you can find on redoxgrows.com/Midwest.
Very cool. Come out, sweat with you this summer. Although the pivots will be on AIM, we could probably go sit out underneath the pivots and get a drink, I suppose,
We will,
right?
if it's hot enough.
Well, in August, I'm guessing it's going to be pretty warm. But listen, I think that is one of those things that I think most folks would love to see a product on their fields. This is probably the next best thing, right? Because you've got, I don't know if there's a plot smaller than 20 acres out there that we've seen.
Probably not, 35-ish, 30.
So on that 500 acres, we've got a lot of different things. A lot focused for the manure guys, right, that are interested in seeing.
Yeah, we got a lot going on with manure, yeah.
How, and I'm going to butcher this a little bit too, but you talk a little bit about how utilizing a product like HED5 or Rutex inside of manure could potentially, I'm going to use your word, multiplier, the multiplier of manure. So now all of a sudden, instead of applying 4, 5, 6 tons, maybe we can go 2, 3 ton per acre and get those nutrients more plant available. What are you excited about with that? I know you're a cattle guy.
I'm a cattle guy, yeah. That's all exciting to me. If we can increase our microbial activity and population and get things working more in our favor, especially on the manure side, the value of that manure definitely increases, right?
100%.
Especially if it comes at increase in production at the end of the year. So folks around here in the I-States and Midwest that run heavy manure, it's intriguing. Right?
Yeah, 100%. I know we had a chance to talk with Abe Sandquist. I know you guys are working with Abe. He's kind of local, but not local. He goes from Des Moines to, Grand Island, I think. But, not every ton's created equal either, right? Now all of a sudden what's in that ton, and we had a fun little conversation. I know he'll be out here talking about manure and compost and really get, I don't know, he seemed like he was pretty good educational. I think that's what you guys are more than anything else. I mean, obviously you guys are here to sell product, right? There's no doubt about that, but educationally, I've never been around a group that's more focused on education. And I think that's just,
agronomy first.
as a part of the foundation of the business, I think it's pretty cool. We'll put those dates up for you all again here at the end of the podcast, but those 3 dates are going to be some heavy horsepower folks here for conversationalists, and I think you're getting steaks for us, right?
I'm working on it.
It's going to be determined.
We are 30 minutes from Omaha, so.
So Omaha Steaks, now everybody's showing up now. Omaha Steaks, let's go. I think one of those events is right close to the World Series too, so if you're,
Yes.
right, I think we're going to.
Yes, June 12th is the day before the NCAA
Kickoff.
baseball.
College baseball
World
World Series out of Omaha.
So, little dads
So-
and grads weekend if you wanted.
We didn't, yeah, there you go. We didn't talk about it, but location-wise, 20 miles, it's just outside of Omaha. It's in southwest Iowa. This
Right
is
off 29.
it's a
Right
heritage
off
farm that's been around since 1858. So there's some cool stuff in and around the facility. It'll be farmer grade, though. It looks to me like it'll be, when I say farmer grade, that's good. At the end of the day, be ready to wear your boots. What was cool out here too, y'all have grass, almost looks like I could land my Cessna out there. You've got perfect runways out there that'll be grass, so we can have golf carts or rangers, or what are you going to hook us up with?
Yeah, hopefully some golf carts, some transportation to get around and look at different protocols.
No hay rack rides. Everybody
No
gets
hay
an individual
rides,
golf
no.
cart.
Bring your kids.
Bring your
wife and
shovel.
kids.
Bring your I love it.
Horse and pony.
We haven't even talked about the product yet. I think we should talk a little bit about this. You have Mainstay sitting here, I believe.
Yep.
Mainstay SI. I think it's actually pretty fitting. Guys that have already hit the field early. Now you're talking about something in season. That's it's corn soybeans, but you could still run an SPE. You could run.
Yeah.
You could run something to see if you're short calcium. Give me the rundown, Jones.
Yeah, Mainstay SI, it's a calcium silicate product, so that silicon is going to help the uptake and absorption of that calcium load. It's really good for cell wall strength, really a good abiotic stress defense type product. So
Timing wise,
anytime foliar, V3, all the way to R1, R2, R3 on soybeans. But with that abiotic stress defense and coming with that calcium and silicon load, it really helped strengthen those cell walls on the leaf and protect it from the stresses that we all know we have here in the Midwest.
well, you would just think standability would be something huge with calcium, right? And all of a sudden you have a healthier plant, healthier stock, I assume, and maybe less susceptible to insect and disease.
Potentially, yeah.
Think about
Anything abiotic, heat, drought, insect pressure.
If you can build nice, thick cell walls,
Sure.
right, that's your defense right there. And it's your storehouse for everything that you're feeding that plant all season long.
We were out digging out here. I think there was an H85. There was a humic that you had out. By the way, there's more than just humics too within your product lineup. I know there's a lot of humics and fulvics, but we were digging on a field. I don't know. It was back off to the east here a little bit, but wherever that humic was applied, it seemed like there was a retention of moisture in that soil. I don't know if that's something you intended there, but that was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I wasn't really thinking that was going to come up, but it was common across 6-7 different protocol zones that
And it's been
seemed
hot.
to be a touch more moisture on that manure with our H85 product. So it'll be interesting to see, later on into the season what that crop looks like once we get, V7, V8. If there is a growth stage difference, if there is fuller ears.
Kind of hard to tell now with corn 2-3.
Yeah.
Actually, you can see some different root development in some of those plants. Aim, you probably shot. We were out there digging. It was fun to do it, but at the end of the day, it's a lot of walking in those fields. So if you do come out to the field days, bring your walking boots because it's gonna be go time. I like it, Jones. That Mainstay kind of summary is interesting. Excited to see it in the field.
Yeah.
Right, we're gonna get a chance to do that in June, July, and August. So next time I suppose we see each other, we'll be in the field at one of those field days. Which one's going to be the best? When are you on stage, Aim?
Everyone.
Or a day.
Can't get her off.
As long as Jones isn't on, everybody's
That's
coming.
right.
Hey, I appreciate you guys taking the time, and thanks for the invite out here. Listen, I think there's access to information and there's access to knowledge. I think getting access to that knowledge takes expertise, ergo the Expert Farm. You guys are providing a lot of confidence to your producers out looking to try and work with new products. So thanks for what you're doing. Thanks for being a part of Total Acre and working with Brian and the group.
Looking forward to it.
We love you guys.
Thanks, you guys.
And that's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in today to this episode of the Total Acre Podcast. Hey, if you enjoyed it, you like the conversation, be sure to subscribe. You know the drill. Spotify, Apple, YouTube. Go give us a click, give us a like. Until next time, though, keep pushing forward. We hope that you found something unique, something powerful here that might help you unlock your farm's potential. We look forward to seeing you next week. Be safe. Talk more here soon on the next Total Acre Podcast.